All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for my hosts for bringing me all the way here from the People's Republic of California. We're running the experiment for all you socialists. See how it goes. And I want to thank the host for putting me up at this hotel that used to be a prison right around the corner here. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but I'm in cell 129, which used to be housed by thieves, and I found myself this afternoon wanting to steal the robe. I don't know what that, if that's just sort of inherent in the system there. All right, what are we talking about here? So first of all, Gareth, thank you for the shout out. You've been reading me since you were 12. Listening to you, I think you actually are on our side, so you've learned very well. We have an opening right over here if you'd like to come over and join us. No? Okay, all right. Well, I think I can talk you into it. Do I hope there's a hell? First of all, I don't think there's a hell. I don't think there's a heaven. I think the whole point of Jesus' message when he says, heaven is not here, lo is not there, it's not here, it's within you. I think the whole point of the Christian message really should be taken as our job is to create a heaven on earth that is a just society in the here and now, whether or not there is a hereafter. And I think that would apply to hell as well. That is to say, okay, I'm a Bayesian, so I would not put a 0 or 100% on any proposition. I'd give hell and heaven like a 1%, pretty low. But whether or not I'm right is irrelevant. The point is we don't live in the hereafter. We live in the here and now. So whether there's cosmic justice and it all gets sorted out in the next life, who knows? Probably not. But whether or not that happens, shouldn't we have a just world now? Isn't that the whole point of criminal justice and civil justice and morality and norms and values and the whole point of a civilized society? All right, so, and by the way, I will point out, because I also studied near-death experiences, almost everybody that has one, they go to heaven. And almost nobody goes to hell. So that would be, if there's evidence for this, it would mean there's no hell. But I don't think anybody's going anywhere on that. All right, so let me ask you a question. We could do a show of hands. Have you ever thought about killing someone you didn't like or that really offended you? Let me see a show of hands. Just be honest about it. Have you ever just kind of had just a momentary urge, like I'd really just love to? All right. I can tell you from research on over 5,000 people around the world that most of you are lying. All right? 91% of men and 84% of women have reported having had a homicidal fantasy of some kind. I'll just give you some examples. One guy said he went 80% of the way toward killing a former friend and now a jealous rival. First, I would break every bone in his body, starting with his fingers and toes, slowly making my way to his larger bones. Then I would puncture his lungs and maybe a few other organs, basically give him as much pain as possible before killing him. I mean, what he's just described is pretty much the history of medieval torture in Europe, right? That's the whole point of torture, is not to kill the person, but make them suffer for as long as possible. One woman said she went 60% of the way, to killing an ex-boyfriend who threatened to make public their sex video. She says, I actually did this. I invited him over for dinner, and when he was in the kitchen looking stupid, peeling the carrots to make a salad, I came to him laughing gently so he wouldn't suspect anything. I thought about grabbing a knife quickly and stabbing him in the chest repeatedly until he was dead. I actually did the first thing, she grabbed the knife, but he saw my intentions and he ran away. Okay. All right, so I have hundreds of stories like this from this research. 90% of all homicides are moralistic in nature. They're not instrumental in nature. I killed him to get his Rolex or his car or whatever. They're moralistic in nature. The guy that's done the research on this is a sociologist named Donald Black. Here's some examples. It's basically the police blotter of why people kill each other. A young man killed his brother during a heated discussion about the latter's sexual advances toward his younger sisters. Another man killed his wife after she dared him to do so during an argument about which of the several bills they should pay. One woman killed her husband during a quarrel in which the man struck her daughter, his stepdaughter. Another woman killed her 21-year-old son because he had been fooling around with homosexuals and drugs. And then there were several homicides over disputes over parking spots. Okay, and of course, the number one predictor of all this is maleness, right? So we know that there's causes to why people commit crimes and violence like this. It's a kind of moralistic, what's called moralistic punishment. Yeah, sure, I'll take one. Go ahead.
So if we presume the correct entirely, most people then do go to heaven based on your real-life experiences. And this makes sense, as humans are perfect and the Lord is merciful and loving. Some people are malicious though. Do those who really perpetrate genocide really, they're just perfect, I just thought it, are they really like the rest of us?
Okay, so my answer would be, from a scientist's perspective, we want to know, why do people commit these crimes? Anybody could condemn it. Yeah, war is bad, homicide is bad. Yeah, I know, of course. But why does it happen? So we can figure out the cause, so we can attenuate it and stop it in the future. That's the point. So what I'm arguing is that there are reasons why people do bad things, and knowing the reasons, then we can correct them through criminal justice, through better science, and better psychology, and so on. I'll give you another study on, this is Christopher Boehm's book, Moral Origins. This is a massive study of hundreds of hunter-gatherer and forager societies around the world. They all experience the problems of free riding and bullies and cheaters and people that just don't play by the rules of the little group. These are maybe a couple dozen to a couple hundred people in the group. What do they do about it? They gossip about them, they scold them, they try to punish them gently, they try to nudge them to do good, and all the way up to capital punishment. I mean, they literally take the guy out for a hunt and they come back without him. This is the first form of capital punishment we know. This goes all the way back. They have to do this because no society can survive if there's too many free riders, cheaters, bullies, and so forth in the group. So we evolved a capacity, first of all, to mostly do good most of the time. Second of all, natural selection did not eliminate all of the free riders and psychopaths and bullies. We know there's about 1% to 3% psychopaths in any population, about twice as many men as women. And so we've never eliminated all of them. There's always going to be bad people. You disagree? You think they're all good?
Yeah, your claim is that the hope that those people have, their divine justice, constitutes a pacifying opiate that distracts them from seeking justice in this life. That flies in the face of the examples given to you by the first speaker. What hope had those monsters? What hope have the enslaved and the destitute? But that which transcends the impassive world that you force them to confront, with no tools, no power of divine justice to husband as their resource in this life, as you are.
Well, what other life is there that you know of? This is it. We have to deal with it now, right? So there are these various sort of behavioral economics game tests that are given, like the ultimatum game. You offer somebody, you give a subject like $100, you can offer somebody else whatever percentage of that. If they accept it, you both get it. If they reject it, nobody gets anything, right? So if I gave you $100, you should offer $99 for yourself and $1 to the other person, because surely they would take $1 over nothing, and they don't. Most people reject offers that are less than about 40%. All right, so we all have a sense of, that's just not right. I mean, it should be close to 50-50, and we know from tons of research on this. So again, we have this kind of sense of what's right and what's wrong and so on. Okay, so big picture, just to wrap up, in the history of over the last 10,000 years or so, as these hunter-gatherer bands began to coalesce into larger chiefdoms and states, all these informal means of behavior control to adjust for the bad people, gossip and punishment and so on and so forth, don't work if there's thousands or tens of thousands. So you need two things. You need a government with a set of rules and laws with punishments, and that here's the rules, everybody gets a copy, here's what's going to happen if you don't follow the rules, boom, okay? But that's only so effective, because people can still get away with things at night or whatever, the long arm of the law is not out there. So religion was the second institution that evolved. If you think you got away with it, you didn't, because there's an eye in the sky that sees everything you do. So this whole invention of hell is there for a behavior control mechanism. You are being watched. Now in China, they have solved this problem. They have 1 billion cameras. And apparently this is happening in London. But before that, we had religion to do that. So the whole point of the criminal justice system, we are going to enforce these and we're going to carry it out and so on, is to have justice here and now. Thank you.